Hello, this is the new Ford Speed Champions GT Heritage Edition and Bronco R Double Pack. Now there's a lot of good news with this set, starting with the fact that it doesn't include any side builds. All the parts go into the stuff that you really want. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this Ford Bronco R, that's based off the prototype that they entered into the Baja 1000 and did terrible with, but that was the official unveiling of the new Bronco. It was the first time we saw any physical thing that represented the new design. I'm going to say that this model looks better than the real thing. To me, I think this just looks more street inspired. It looks like the proportions are a little bit more reasonable, I guess. The tires don't stick out quite so much, and this just looks more like the production Bronco to me, which is a good thing. I think that's very, very, very much a good thing. The build for this was fantastic, especially the roll cage type of elements that are included here with some recolors, I believe, for some of the parts that are used for the tire holder, holder singular on the back, which does have two full-sized wheels and tires within it, real ones. Very nice, and those are easy to remove. And then the roll bar elements inside of the cockpit itself, you can see some of those sticking out, that have that nice blue color. It's just a regular blue, but stands out well and it's proper. Yes, this does use a bunch of stickers. I strongly recommend putting the stickers on maybe late, after you've done a bunch of assemblies, so that you can put them in places that will minimize their appearance, that will leave a minimum amount of visible gaps. Now, these gaps up here for the red stripe that goes around on the hood are the most unavoidable of them, but still, that doesn't look too bad. You got the logo up there, you got some vents and stuff. Just overall, though, this looks fantastic to me. Everything about this looks really, really good. I appreciate that they got just a little bit of red rim around the edge with the use of the black inserts there with the regular red rim and everything. And this has a lot of interesting build techniques, has a lot of cool part recolors and everything. It was just genuinely enjoyable to put together, and it's a fully custom ground up build. It's not based around a singular chassis piece or anything. Not that the other Speed Champion sets that are based around the singular pieces are shabby in their designs. The roof comes off super, super easy. You got the little high intensity light bar up at the top. And then looking inside there, they've got one sticker. So that's something they have not done a lot this season, at least so far, this year so far, giving it, actual interior details. They've got one sticker for the center console, and then just an actually fairly well lined up steering wheel, which some of the other sets have not had, and just two seats. So you can put two people in there. Unfortunately, they do not include two people to go with this. You just have a driver, not a navigator. But see, these are full wheels. So that's nice. And these are the older style of original Speed Champions wheels, not the newer style, which is great. Works really well with these tires and gives you that nice tall profile. It's all good stuff here. The GT Heritage Edition, on the other hand, is such the polar opposite of a vehicle. But this is definitely my favorite of the 2021 Speed Champions so far. My favorite by far. It looks fantastic. It actually looks at least as good in person as it did in the pictures. I mean, it already looked really good in the pictures to me personally, but then having actually built it, some of the build techniques are super satisfying. Super, super satisfying. Like, for instance, how these side bits here are as part of the, I don't even know what you call that part of the body on this style of body. It's kind of like a BC pillar, but then it's kind of not because it sticks out, and then there's another one on the inside. It just fits in there. It's just angled down and just, it's so good. So good. I still question a little bit the choice of medium azure for this Gulf-inspired paint scheme or livery. I do think that medium blue would have been closer, but the medium azure here that they chose is more brave. It's more bright, to be sure. This stands out more. I think that this will prove to be the better choice in the long term. That history will look back upon this decision well. It will, history will smile upon this color choice. I'm going to stand by my feeling that medium blue would have been more accurate to it. I'll put it that way. Best thing about this, by far, and this kind of actually makes me mad at the same time as it makes me super, super happy. Check out the headlights here. those are prints. And I think I can align them just a little bit better than that. But you see, that's 2 printed pieces. And they're printed up to very, very close to the edges. They're not perfectly aligned. The registration is not absolutely, flawless, but it's really good. And it shows that they can do that. And if they can do that, why don't they do that more? Because this is one design. This is another design for the mirrored style, and they have 2 of the little insert one in there, which can be used for the 1x1 quarter round tile. So if they can do that for headlights in particular, why don't they do that more? Because for headlights in particular, they need to. I'm just saying. You can see some weird angles. Oh, that inside piece, it's like a train roof piece from the front of a locomotive. It's huge. Did not make any sense whatsoever during the initial assembly, but then it worked out just fine in the end. Look at some of these angles, the way that the door panels are angled in so sharply. You do get that little gap at the base of the windscreen there, but it's not very visible because you do have the dark color for the windscreen itself. I think that the printing for the windscreen is good enough. So it's actually a little bit more reddish, a little bit less green, I guess you could say, closer to a true blue compared to the very cyan color that is medium azure. You have a little bit of engine detail, more than you need, more than is called for, as you can see through the back here. You see the combination of stickers there. Once again, be very careful with your sticker application. If you get this set, it can make the difference between making it look nice and making it look kind of gappy and toyish. Back end looks very good. Maybe that's not aligned just perfectly. Yeah, that's all just my fault right there, but I can bring those back. Now it's up a little bit too high, but you get it. Fits together pretty nicely. This one is based around a standard new standard large chassis piece, but I don't mind it I don't mind it one bit. I don't mind it whatsoever, because the end result is really what counts here, and the end result is fantastic. This is able to hold 2 figures in there, and once again, this does have a center console sticker, which is nicer than most of the Speed Champion sets from this year, but here you get that offset steering wheel that is a bit awkward, and that is common to the cars. Comparing the new car to the old one is like, wow, what's going on here? How could that even be from the same company? And to think, I liked this. When it came out, the 6-wide one, I liked this a lot. I thought it was pretty dang cool. And at that time, these 2x6 double rounded plates were new, and this notched 1x2 by 2/3 set of curves was new. And I think these back here, these 2x2 wedge plates were new as well. It's like, wow, we're getting all these fancy new shapes and everything. It makes things so realistic. The possibilities there are endless. But then you compare it to the new one. There's just no comparison. This needed to be so much wider. And it's not just the width though. It's everything. It's everything about the new one is so much better. Let me bring in my street version, my street converted version. It's maybe, just a little bit more toned down, a little bit closer, doesn't have as many stickers on it and everything. Still, it's just based on the race one with just a few substitutions. Still, such a difference. Ugh, it's not even close. The new one is just, it's how it should be. Looking at figures, it's the Bronco driver on the left, obviously, and the GT driver on the right. These both look pretty good, but the Bronco one gets more printing and thus is superior, in my opinion, because you get the hip printing and the leg printing. It's nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, the tan printed torso is quite nice itself, the classic inspired one, but yeah, I like the Bronco one better here. We just really needed to have a third figure in this set, in my opinion. Fortunately, they did at least give us alternate headgear pieces, and those look good as well and are always quite welcomed. Here are the other pieces, and once again, remember the Bronco uses the original style of Speed Champion's wheels, so the inserts for those are smaller, whereas the GT uses the new ones, which are dual molded with the tires built in to the wheel. They're very, very thin tires, and a larger wheel uses the larger insert. We do get one of the spare printed piece there, and that's for changing out your wheel inserts. And check out this gray piece. That blew my mind and made me so very happy. It's a pneumatic piece. It's like a pneumatic T, except it's an I. It's just straight. So it's got the small little mini peg hole in the end of it to allow air to go through if you're using it with pneumatic lines. But this is just exactly the type of thing that Lego needs to make more of. Very, very small pieces that have tons and tons of uses and allow you to do things that you couldn't do before in a very, very small space with great efficiency. I love that. I think there were 2 of these officially used in the Bronco build, and then you get 1 spare. I'm looking forward to lots and lots more of those. And then finally, take a look at the sticker sheets, just so you understand what the sticker load was like. This is just the one for the Bronco. Did not feel like too much to me personally. I was perfectly fine with that, and I feel like most of those are necessary to get this thing to look kind of right. And then here's the sheet for the GT. I think this one had a few spots that were a little bit more tricky. Definitely felt like far fewer stickers on this one. Maybe they were just spread out more relative to the size of the thing. But yeah, I think both of these are fine for what they are. But you know, it's Speed Champions. These are race and or race inspired liveries, so you can expect lots of stickers always. So I paid $50 US for this double pack, which is $10 more than you would expect for a 2-pack of regular 8-wide Speed Champions cars today. However, that Bronco is no regular Speed Champions car. It's significantly better. There's so much more heft here, so much more bulk, so much more stuff. And it's not just size, it's fairly dense. There's a good amount of weight here. There's a good amount of detail, good amount of building experience that goes into this, and it looks great on display. So I'm not surprised that they charge more than $40 US for this. I kind of wish it was more like 40, 45, you know, but 50, I kind of get it. And this is still, in my opinion, the best Speed Champion set that they've done to date. Personally, I like both of these. I personally like the GT more, but this really looks better than the real thing, and is such a far cry as well from the Raptor, the Ford F-150 Raptor that they did some years ago, which was their first big truck, you know, full-size truck attempt in the Speed Champions world. That one just didn't look like the source material to me at all. It was kind of cool as a build, but just was way too toyish and way off. This is proper. This is like collector's edition Lego stuff here, as is this. So all in all, I'm happy with this. The build experiences were good for both. The parts are good. The part recolors and part inclusions, and it's all good. Just all good. This just needed one more figure. There we go. I would feel much better about the value if this included one more figure, so that we would have a driver and a navigator over here, and then it would have been pretty darn perfect. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.